Well, Rupert, nice to meet you. I was just going to start by asking, what was it about A Royal Night Out that first enticed you into the project? What was it that attracted you to it?
Well, having a job, A. B, I just thought it was a very good story, rather like Roman Holiday. And very funny and touching and rompy. And I thought it looked like it could be, really good film. And my part, I was very excited when Emily was going to be the Queen, who I adore, and who I also think is, is a fabulous actress. And so I was rather proud of the two of us, really. I thought we presented a really compact and well-organised royal couple.
In regards to King George, I mean, when you're playing a royal, I mean, the royals we know are the ones that do the public appearances. So was it quite an enjoyable challenge to get behind the facade, and actually find the human being within the character, the human being that technically we don't actually know too well?
Well, I think my part was mostly about really being a father, a concerned father about a daughter, as much as anything else. And then there's the royal stuff on top. But I think essentially the character is a father who's looking at the changing world and, worrying deeply about his children. So I think it's a feeling that most fathers probably have, particularly with daughters. This story is a kind of, an exaggerated version, because it actually happens to be a royal family in a world that doesn't necessarily want to have a royal family anymore. Who knows? And so he's a very, very, very concerned father.
And in regards to the sort of the tone of the movie, I mean, it's a really kind of nice affable tone, and there's something quite sort of very, very charming about this film as well. And I was just wondering, is that something that extends to the set when you're working on a film that has this sort of spirit and atmosphere that like in this narrative? Does that often kind of inform the atmosphere on set as well? I
think what you're talking about probably is really the crowd sequences, because the crowd sequence, when you see England celebrating, it's like a kind of period version of a football match, and the crowds, we had really good crowds, because when you look at that great moment when Big Ben strikes midnight, for example, and she's in front of the palace and she's looking at her people, I think that's the thing that's most touching and fabulous about the movie, seeing this celebrating world after 5 years of war. And so I think the crowd stuff, the movie was Julian is a really good director, so we had it was a very nice atmosphere on the set. But it's quite technical, the whole thing, because Sarah was American, so she had her dialogue coach. She had to be very careful about speaking, and so did Belle. Everyone did. I think it was we moved around a lot. They were in Hull for quite some time, because a lot of London is shot in Hull, so it was quite a challenging movie. I think it was quite exhausting for people who were on it all the time.
Yeah. And what do you think that you would have done on VE night? How would you have celebrated?
Sex.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what most people did.
Fair enough. And from that on to a children's movie, you're going to be in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
Yes.
I just wondered if you could tell us a little bit about your character in that movie and how he fits into the story.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to. I think it's a secret. The story, but the main thing is it's almost impossible to describe. But it's going to be an amazing film, and working with Tim Burton is certainly, one of the great experiences. My role's tiny, so it's not really very important. But he's kind of one of the last auteur directors. Like when you go and see a Tim Burton film, you're seeing him, everything about him is in his films. It's just about him, really, and his aesthetic and his view on life is all his films are imbued with it. And because he's been so successful, he's really completely unhindered by any, commercial problems or money issues. He makes his films at the most comfortable level, and it's really exciting to be part of. And I really, really enjoyed it. The story is almost impossible to describe, but it takes place now and in the Second World War. One day in the Second World War, where a certain group of people are kind of in a time warp.
And just and finally, I really enjoyed Love for Sale when that was on the telly.
Oh,
I was
good, thank
wondering
you.
if we can expect to see more of those kind of investigative sort of journalist pieces from you in the future.
Yes, I'm doing a documentary about Jesus in September, I think. And I definitely like going to do documentaries. Unfortunately, getting commissioned in the documentary world is as improbable as being a sperm finding an egg during a shag, because it's it's so hard to get commissioned that it almost kind of, and even when you do get commissioned, you're kind of micromanaged really within an inch of your life. So it's not like the old days, like when I was a kid, before your time. People would go to the BBC with an idea, and they'd just say yes, go on, do it, and come back when it's done. And that, I think, would be the ideal world for documentary making, really, because what is considered documentary making now isn't really. It's all terribly organised, pre-organised, so it stops it really being a documentary in a way.
Yeah. And what is it about Jesus? What's the kind of...
Oh, well, it's about in search of the real Jesus, really.
Did you find him? Actually, no, I'll leave it. I'll wait till we see it.
Wait and see.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, you guys!